use my mic, my Snowball mic, so bear with me as I probably don't have the settings right or something. But I will get better at this. I'm wanting to use this a lot more with my videos, so anyways, just wanted to throw out that disclaimer before I went into this random ramble. But I will just be doing some kind of like nighttime kind of sayings, I guess. I know that sounds weird, but just like saying stuff like rest your eyes and that kind of stuff. And I thought it fit quite well with the theme of this background. I actually found this background on Google and I fell in love with it. I've been wanting to use it for quite some time on a video, but I didn't know what was the right theme for it. But I do think that this theme that I'm doing, obviously, in a minute will kind of go along with it well enough, and I hope you guys enjoy the visual of this really beautiful background. I know some of you guys don't like videos where I don't show my face, and I apologize for that if this is not going to be something you're going to particularly enjoy as much, but I think this background was too beautiful not to share in one of my videos. I love artwork like this and just drawings and just stuff like this in general. I think it's just beautiful, and I was attracted to this piece of artwork that I found, so I hope you guys enjoy this and that you guys get some sleep and this is relaxing for you whatsoever. So let's get started. Relax your eyes. Relax your body. Relax every part of you that may feel any pain or discomfort. Relax. Close your eyes and go into a peaceful bliss of warmth and sunshine, or whatever you prefer. If it's a scenery like the background that you're looking at as you're watching this, where there's many mystical creatures and bright colors near you, then imagine that to where you're laying on a soft bed of grass, where you're looking up at the sky, where there's fairies, whatever you prefer, floating around you in a peaceful comfort, bliss. Whatever you want to imagine where you are, just close your eyes and let yourself be free. Let yourself go to a place where you can imagine these wonderful things and be in that comfort and know that you are there right now. Know that you are right there. You can almost smell it or feel it, and you are there. And now I want you to count back to 30. Count back from 30. I'll have to go this out. Count back from 30 with safe from whatever anxiety or nerves, whatever you're feeling is gone. You are okay, and you will be okay no matter what. Everything will be okay. Everything will be alright. You will be fine. Everything will be okay. And if you would like to, begin going to the tops of your arms again and just bringing your hands all the way down, lightly down to your fingertips. You may do so if you feel. Or if you would just like to relax your entire body and just close your eyes, imagining that paradise of bliss, wherever it may be, you may do so as well. Whatever gets you into a comfortable, relaxing sleep or bliss. Now, let's count down from 12. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. And what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be reading you a short story, and it is called Thumbelina. I think you will really enjoy this if you are still awake and watching. So let's get started with that, okay? There once was a woman who wished very much to have a little child, but she could not obtain her wish. At last she went to a fairy and said, "I should so very much like to have a child. Can you tell me where I can find one?" "Oh, that can be easily managed," said the fairy. "Here is a barley corn of a different kind to those which grow in the farmer's fields, and which the chickens eat. Put it in the flower pot and see what will happen." "Thank you," said the woman, and she gave the fairy 12 shillings, which was the price of the barley corn. Then she went home and planted it, and immediately there grew up a handsome, large flower, something like a tulip in appearance, but with its leaves tightly closed as if it were still a bud. "It is a beautiful flower," said the woman, and she kissed the red and golden colored leaves, and while she did so the flower opened, and she could see that it was a real tulip. Within the flower, upon the green velvet stems, sat a very delicate and graceful little maiden. She was scarcely half as a thumb, and they gave her the name of Thumbelina, or Tiny, because she was so small. A walnut shell, elegantly polished, served her for a cradle. Her bed was formed of blue-violet leaves, with a rose leaf for a counterpane. Here she slept at night, but during the day she amused herself on a table where the woman had placed a plate full of water. Round this plate were wreaths of flowers with their stems in the water, and upon it floated a large tulip leaf, which served Tiny for a boat. Here the little maiden sat and rowed herself from side to side with 2 oars made of white horsehair. It was really a very pretty sight. Tiny could also sing so softly and sweet that nothing like her singing had ever been heard. One night, while she lay in her pretty little bed, a large, ugly, wet toad crept through the broken pane of glass in the window and leaped right upon the table where Tiny lay sleeping under her rose-leaf quilt. "What a pretty little wife this would make for my son," said the toad, and she took up the walnut shell in which Tiny lay asleep and jumped through the window with it into the garden. In the swampy margin of a broad stream in the garden lived the toad with her son. He was uglier than even his mother, and when he saw the pretty little maiden in her elegant bed, he could only cry, "Croak, croak, croak." "Don't speak so loud or she will wake," said the toad, "and then she might run away, for she is light as a swan's down. We will place her on one of those water lily leaves out in the stream. It will be like an island to her. She is so light and so small. And then she cannot escape, and while she is away we will make a haste to repair the stateroom under the marsh, in which you were to live when you are married." Far out in the stream grew a number of water lilies with broad green leaves, which seemed to float on the top of the water. The largest of these leaves appeared to be in the morning and began to cry bitterly when she found where she was, for she could see nothing but water on every side of the large green leaf and no way of reaching the land. Meanwhile, the old toad was very busy under the marsh, decking her room with brushes and wild yellow flowers to make it look pretty for her new daughter-in-law. Then she swam out with her ugly son to the leaf on which she had placed poor little Tiny. She wanted to fetch the pretty bed that she might put in the bridal chamber to be ready for him. The old toad bowed low to her in the water and said, "Here is my son. He will be your husband, and you will live happily in the marsh by the stream." Croak, croak, croak was all her son could say for himself. So the toad took up the elegant little bed and swam away with it, leaving Tiny all alone on the green leaf, where she sat and wept. She could not bear to think of living with the old toad and having her ugly son for a husband. The little fishes who swam about in the water beneath had seen the toad and heard what she said, so they lifted their heads above the water to look at the little maiden. As soon as they caught sight of her, they saw she was very pretty, and it made them very sorry to think that she must go and live with the ugly toads. No, it must never be. So they assembled together in the water, round the green stalk which held the leaf, on which the little maiden stood, and nodded away at the root with her teeth. Then the leaf floated down the stream, carrying Tiny far to the way of the reach of the land. Tiny sailed past many towns, and the little birds in the bushes saw her and sang, "What a lovely little creature." So the leaf swam away with her farther and farther till it brought her to other lands. A graceful white little butterfly constantly fluttered around her, and at last alighted on the leaf. Tiny pleased him, and she was glad of it, for now the toad could not possibly reach her, and the country through which they sailed was beautiful, and the sun shone upon the water till it glittered like liquid gold. She took off her girdle and tied one end of it round the butterfly, and the other end of the ribbon she fastened to the leaf, which now glided on them much faster than ever, taking little Tiny with it as she stood. Presently a large cockchafer flew by. The moment he caught sight of her, he seized round her delicate waist with his claws and flew her into a tree. The green leaf floated on the brook, and the butterfly flew with it, for he was fastened to it and could not get away. Oh, how frightened little Tiny felt when the cockchafer flew with her to the tree, but especially was she sorry for the beautiful white butterfly which she had fastened to the leaf, for he could not free himself, he would die of hunger. But the cockchafer did not trouble himself at all about that matter. He seated himself by her side on a large green leaf, gave her some honey for the flowers to eat, and told her she was very pretty, though not in the least like a cockchafer. After a time, all the cockchafers turned up their feelers and said, "She has only 2 legs. How ugly that looks." "She has no feelers," said another. "Her waist is quite slim. Pooh, she is like a human being." "Ugh, she is ugly," said all the lady cockchafers. Although Tiny was very pretty, then the cockchafer who had run away with her believed that all the others, when they said she was ugly, and would have nothing more to say to her, and told her she might as well go where she liked. Then he flew down with her from the tree and placed her on a daisy, and she wept at the thought that she was so ugly that even the cockchafers would have nothing to say to her. And all the while she was really the loveliest creature that one could imagine, as tender, as delicate as a beautiful rose leaf. During the whole summer, poor little Tiny lived quite alone in the wild forest. She wove herself into a bed of blades of grass, and hung it up under a broad leaf to protect herself from the rain. She sucked the honey from the flowers for food, and drank the dew from their leaves every morning. So passed away the summer and the autumn, and then came the winter, the long, cold winter. All the birds who had sung to her so sweetly were flown away, and the trees and flowers had withered. The large clover leaf under the shelter of which she lived was now rolled together and shriveled up. Nothing remained but a yellow, withered stalk. She felt dreadfully cold, for her clothes were torn, and she herself was so frail and delicate that poor little Tiny was nearly frozen to death. It began to snow too, and the snowflakes, as they fell upon her, were like a whole shovelful falling upon one of us, for we are tall, but she was only an inch high. Then she wrapped herself in it dryly, but it cracked in the middle, could not keep her warm, and she shriveled with the cold. Near the wood in which she had been living lay a cornfield, but the corn had been cut a long time. Nothing remained but bare dry stubble standing up in the frozen ground. It was to her like struggling through a large wood. Oh, how she shivered with the cold. She came at last to the door of a field mouse who had little done under the corn stubble. There dwelt the little field mouse in warmth and comfort, with a whole room full of corn. a small place of barley corn, for she had been without a morsel to eat for 2 days. You poor little creature, said the mouse, who was really a good old field mouse. Come into my warm home and dine with me. She was very pleased with Tiny, so she said, you are quite welcome to stay with me all winter if you like, but you must keep my rooms clean and neat and tell me stories, for I shall like to hear them very much. And Tiny did all the field mouse asked her and found herself very comfortable. We shall have a visitor soon, said the field mouse one day. My neighbor pays me to visit once a week. He's better off than I am. He has large rooms and wears a beautiful black red velvet coat. If you could only have him for a husband, you'd be very well provided for indeed. But he is blind, so you must tell him some of your prettiest stories. But Tiny did not feel at all interested about this neighbor, for he was a mole. However, he came and paid his visit dressed in his black velvet coat. He is very rich and learned, and his house is 20 times larger than mine, said the field mouse. He was rich and learned, no doubt, but he always spoke so slightly of the sun and the pretty flowers, because he had never seen them. Tiny was obliged to sing to him, lady bird, fly away home, and many other pretty songs, and the mole fell in love with her because she had such a sweet voice, but he had said nothing yet, for he was very cautious. A short time before, the mole had dug a long passage under the earth, which led from the dwelling of the field mouse to his home, and here she had permission to walk with Tiny whenever she liked. But he warned them not to be alarmed at the sight of a dead bird which lay in the passage. It was a perfect bird with a beak and feathers, and could not have been dead long, and was lying just where the mole had made his passage. The mole took a piece of phosphorus wood in his mouth, and it glittered like the fire in the dark. Then he went before them to light them through the long dark passage. When they came to the spot where the lay bird had died, the mole pushed his broad nose through the ceiling. The earth gave away so that there was a large hole, and the daylight shone through the passage. In the middle of the floor lay a dead swallow, his beautiful wings pulled close to his sides, his feet and his head drawn up under his feathers. The poor bird had evidently died of the cold, and made little Tiny very sad to see it. She did so love the little birds. All the summer they had sung and twittered for her so beautifully. But the mole pushed it aside with his crooked legs and said, he will sing no more now. How miserable to be born a little bird. I am thankful that none of my children will ever be birds, for they can do nothing but cry, tweet, tweet, and always die of hunger in the winter. Yes, you may as well say that, as a clever man, exclaimed the field mouse. What is this use of his twitting, for when the word winter comes, he must either starve or be frozen up to death. Still, birds are very high bred. Tiny said nothing, but when the two others had turned their backs on the bird, she stooped down and stroked aside the soft feathers which covered the head and kissed the closed eyelids. Perhaps this was the one who sung to me so sweetly in the summer, she said, and how much bother it gave me, you dear pretty bird. So I apologize for not being able to get through the entire Thumbelina story. If you guys are interested in hearing the last few chapters of it, do let me know in the comments, and I will be doing a part 2 of this if enough people are interested.